Hey y'all, welcome back to the lessons we learned in 11 years.
Welcome
Listen,
back, guys.
we just getting ready to share some things with y'all that I think could help you. You hear me? All right.
Why
Want to
are you
hear?
talking country?
Here you go. All right, here we go. So I'll kick it off. I think we're at 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we're at 6. So my number 6 lesson that I would say that I learned over this 11-year span that we've been married would simply be I learned to give your spouse a fresh start. Basically, what I'm saying is every day you should give your spouse, your partner, new mercy, new grace. Like, forget yesterday. Let yesterday just stay where yesterday is. Like, don't bring yesterday into the day. I mean, we just do that all too many times. Like, I'm telling you, I have seen a perfectly good day between my wife and I. I mean, we're having a great time, awesome ice cream, food, family, fun, fellowship, and then all of a sudden, here come yesterday. And soon as yesterday get in there, it's like, oh, there you go again. And I'm like, dang, can I get a new plate? So, I mean, so no matter how hard yesterday was, try your best to come into that next day with fresh grace, a fresh cup to be filled up again. And you'll be surprised what you'll actually get from that. Now, Martha, she uses paper plates.
There you
Oh.
go. So my number 7 would be that you cannot change a person. Only God can. Your spouse, your mate, people that you come in contact with, that's for marriage or outside of marriage, you don't have the ability in and of yourself to change them. There's some things I'm sure about your spouse that might agitate you. But I've learned that I cannot change those things. Only God can. So all I can do is pray. Because I just remember throughout the course of our marriage, certain things, I'm like, why are we still dealing with this? And I'll constantly have my things to say about it, thinking that it would cause Gordon to change. But my constant nagging, my constant making mention of it is not going to be what causes the change. I've noticed that when I would just give it to God and just pray to Him and believe Him to change it, eventually I would see improvement in that area. So prayer does work, even in your marriage.
I want to piggyback off that too. That's a dope point. And what I would say is be honest with each other. Now, the nagging part, I'm not with it, but let your spouse know for some areas that they need to work in. Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest, if one of the greatest lessons that I learned as well to piggyback off that is to work on yourself. Mm-hmm. Even in your marriage. If you spend the time that's given to you in that relationship to work on you, to identify the things that you know can make you better and make you better for that family, for your spouse, for your children, take that time and dig in and just get better. Mm-hmm. Get more emotionally healthy. Get more whole. Get healed. I mean, take time to start, reading, and take time to get up early in the morning and spend time with the Lord and center yourself and think about, the places that you want to go and think about the goals that you want to set. Think about all of those things, even personal goals, not goals that deal with finances or homes or cars, but goals that, today, Lord, with my children, I want to have more grace. I want to, love, have more compassion for my friends and family. Today, I want to, look at a problem and not see a problem, but see an opportunity. And then start to really, 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 really work on yourself. And when you do that, what you end up finding out is, man, that you start getting better for your spouse, and then your spouse is like, oh, wait a minute.
Let me get on my game.
Let me get on me. You know?
And that's true because me personally, I find myself sometimes constantly blaming, well, you did this or you did that, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. And then I had to come back and kind of self-reflect and say, where am I in this? And then in me getting better and responding and also being proactive in our encounters with each other as far as initiating the affection or the love that I was wanting from him, it seemed like it would be reciprocated, or the circumstances would be a lot lighter. And it seemed like my behavior would cause him to then get better. So instead of constantly looking at your spouse for what you need or for what you're desiring or what you're expecting, a lot of times you have to be that for them, you know?
That's good.
And that's operating in grace. Because I honestly have had those times to where I'm like, what is going on? Why isn't Gordon being this that I need? And then when I would decide, you know, well, God, search me. Where in my heart am I flawed? You know, where do I need to be fixed? You know, and I found out, you know, that some of my inner issues, I was trying to kind of deflect on his behavior when I really need to just work on myself, you know? And that made sense.
That made a lot of sense.
Okay.
Be the change you want to see.
That's right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Be the change that you want to see. Now, some situations, some of y'all got some knuckleheads that you've been doing all you can do. You've been jumping off buildings. You've been doing flips.
Cartwheels.
You've been twirls, somersaults, full twists, twerking and jerking, sliding and gliding. Right? Ain't nothing changed. In those instances, I'll say prayer does change things.
Yes, it does.
But sometimes you got to put a little fire under these people's hind parts and let them know I ain't gonna sit around here and play these reindeer games with you. Rudolph and Dasher and Dancer been doing all that, but I ain't got time for that. I don't play that. You way out there in Christmas. This ain't even Christmas.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? All right, pull that back in. I'm sorry.
You just went all the way left.
Yeah, I had to do that.
Let's
Though. I had to
continue.
Here we go. My number 7 thing that I've learned over this 11-year journey, I would say never assume. Never assume. Don't make assumptions. Even if you've been married for a while, stop making assumptions. You know, you think that just because you've been married a certain amount of time or you've been around somebody, oh, I already know they want this. I already know they like that. No. Stop making those assumptions and communicate. Open up your mouth and talk. Open up your mouth when cooler heads prevail, when emotions have settled, and when things are good. Have conversations. Stop thinking that you already know what they want to eat. Even to the other spouse that I'm talking to, if I'm speaking to the ladies, stop assuming that your man already knows what you want just because you got it yesterday. We go out and we want to get some, I got to do it. We go out and get something to eat, and we're talking about, hey, what you want to eat? Okay, well, what you want? I already know what I want in my head. And so then you throw something out there, well, you know, hey, let's get pizza. Nah, I don't want that. Well, I thought you didn't know what you wanted to eat. Nah, it's whatever you get. All right, let's get some. Nah. Anyways, though, yeah, stop making assumptions, guys. You know, just that's just one of the things that I learned. It's probably just a simple like communicate, get to know exactly what it is that your partner or your spouse is looking for. You know, whether it be emotional availability, whether it be, you know, talking, whether it on a financial standpoint, whether it be on an expectation for, you know, having a family later on down the line, whether it be occupation, whether it be you want to go in ministry full time and, you know, they want you to work corporately. You know, it just depends on all that good stuff. Don't assume nothing. Communicate, talk.
Cool. My next one would be that in marriage, you're going to go through seasons. We've gone through many different seasons in our marriage to where, you know, there were seasons where we felt like we were winning, we were on top of the world, so much was going good, and then we had seasons of trials and obstacles, you know, where we might have gone through, you know, might have been financially, or there might have been a disconnect between us. You know, it's going to go through seasons. It goes through phases, and that's okay. It's a part of the growing pains. And it also is something, the seasons is what keeps you closer and seeking God. You know, I found that if it wasn't for the seasons, we would get to the point to where we were ungrateful, and, you know, to the point to where we didn't appreciate each other and also appreciate God. So, you know, it's okay to go through seasons. That's normal. So if you go through phases to where you were once on a high and then now you're on a low, don't think that that's the end of your marriage. It will happen.
I feel like an old school preacher when they get up behind the preacher after they've already preached and they give a topic. I'm about to do that. Because I basically would just title that sermon my wife just gave as endurance.
Right.
I mean, just to sum up everything she says, endurance. Marriage is not a sprint. Marriage is not it's a marathon. It is a long, I mean, it is a triathlon. You know, you're not just running a long distance in marriage. Sometimes you got to jump. Sometimes you got to climb. Sometimes you got to crawl. Sometimes you got to roll. Sometimes you got to pick some things up. Sometimes you got to be picked up. And you figure that out in marriage. And so when you get inside of this thing, just don't be in a rush. Prepare yourself to endure. Lock arms like this. Gather each other. Gird yourselves. And say, we're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if the wind blow. Doesn't matter if the rain fall. Doesn't matter if the ground shake. Doesn't matter if the lightning strike. Doesn't matter. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
We're going to get together and we're going to endure and we're going to ride this thing out. Matter of fact, you have to turn to the person you love. Call them on the phone. FaceTime them, Facebook them, Instagram them. I don't know what social media platform you're on. Use a dial tone phone. I don't care. You got the one with the circle? Call them. Who cares? Page them. You got a pager. Doesn't matter. Whatever you have, whoever it is that's in your life, you ought to just text them, say something, and just say, I'm in it to win it.
That's right.
You got to be in it to win it. Seasons change, but that commitment got to stay strong.
That's right.
I feel God tonight. I don't know what it is. You know, it's daytime. All preachers say on tonight.
On tonight.
On tonight. We thank God on tonight.
Let us carry on.
Amen.
On
As we go to the next part, amen. Thank God for Bishop, amen. So, number 9 for me would simply be cover your partner. Cover your spouse. Cover them. Matter of fact, I wrote something down. I want to say it. It said, in relationships, nobody should be closer to you than your partner. Therefore, always have each other's backs. Be honest with each other when you're wrong, but don't put them on display for their weakness. Cover them in prayer and in deed. Look, the Bible says you need to leave and cleave. You forsake everybody else and you come together. Nobody should be closer than your spouse, not even your children. Your spouse comes first. And so in that, although, you know, when you get together, you don't have it all together. Right? So the two is becoming one flesh. So you got two folk, two different ideologies, two different cultures, two different thought processes that are now trying to become one. And in the midst of that, it's gonna be some areas in your life you're gonna get to that you ain't gonna be able to quite mend together so quick.
Yeah.
Because of some stuff you might have in you or they might have in them, some brokenness, some hurt, some whatever that have nothing to do with each other. But in that time when you're processing, when you're trying to become one and the other person is hurting so bad and they're acting out or whatever it is that they have that they're working on, cover them. Cover them in prayer. Cover them in deed. Don't embarrass them. Don't get with your mother and your aunties and your uncles and dog them out.
Right.
You know, get somewhere in your private time and just pray and ask the Lord, strengthen them, build them up. You know, teach him who you are. Show him how to be a man. Show her how to be a woman. Show me how to be a man. Show her, you know, just cover them in prayer. Don't embarrass them. Don't ridicule them, but cover them.
So what you're basically saying is don't operate out of emotion. Operate based on the spiritual side of things. Because, you know, when we operate out of emotion, I know women, we're emotional beings. We're quick to want to run and tell such and such, well, you know, my man, he's, you know, my husband, he just ain't acting right, you know, just having so many thoughts that we want to share with everybody else. But it's not always good to share that, because not only at the moment it might make you feel good, but and you might feel relieved. However, in the long run, it affects how they see your husband. So you said cover them and don't, you know, necessarily make them look bad. Don't be so quick to want to say what they're not doing right in front of somebody else, because they're just unconscious. Their unconscious response would be to want to protect you. And in them wanting to protect you, they start to build up a certain view about your husband or about your spouse that is not necessarily healthy for the two of you. They're more prone to give you advice that might seem to help you, but not to help the union.
And so when you start doing that too, what ends up happening is now your spouse, the husband or the wife, whoever it is, when she get around the boys and she sees something has been going on against her, now you've created a division, a divide between you and your spouse. So now she's on the defensive 24/7, saying, hey, this is not a team anymore. You're against me. And so now when y'all in close quarters, it's like, hey, she feels alone. Or when he gets around you and your girls, it's like, wow.
Or you and your family.
Your family, he knows something's going on. You've been talking, you've been dogging. And he's been like, I'm getting myself together. Then little stuff is said. He's like, wait a minute. What's going on? Everybody is against me. And so now he builds up a wall on the defense. And now that area that you had started to work on through your love and your compassion with your spouse and the way you've been treating them, you've been getting through to them, you see certain changes. Now it's going to go all the way back to zero. Because you're like, hey, I can't let you in because I can't trust you. And although some situations are different, I would say this. You need friends because some people in relationships that you really don't even need to be in. Folk mean, they're verbally abusive, they're physical abusive. So we're not speaking to that. We're not telling you not to have friends, not to talk about things, because some folk, you need to be out of there.
But just be careful what you say and when you say it, how you're saying it about your spouse.
Yes.
Weigh the pros and the cons and look at the outcome. Is it going to benefit my marriage by me sharing this? And if it doesn't benefit it, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Keep it between you and God.
You and the Lord.
Okay, so our last lesson that
Number 10.
Yeah, our last lesson would
number
be
10.
to keep God at the center. And I know some of you are like, well, why do they have to keep talking about God? I'm sorry. If you come to this channel, this is what you're going to get.
No, I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
We're really not sorry.
Yeah, so that is what is going to be able to sustain you, not only in your marriage, but in your life. It will give you a hope, and it will promise you a future. If you want longevity in your marriage, if you want sustaining power, something to keep you bonded, something to keep you lifted when times get low, you need God at the center. He has to be at the forefront. Because like Gordon said in the last video, his love, my love, is not strong enough. It's not tight enough to keep us together. So we have to lean on God every day to keep our marriage strong.
And you know what? I really feel this strongly. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. One translation says, he will make your paths straight. And there's so many relationships right now, you don't know where you are. You feel like you're to the left, you feel like you're to the right. One day you're up, one day you're down. One day you feel like you're in the valley. One day you feel like you're on the mountain. One day you seem like you're on the backside. And you're like, I don't know where we got off track, but we are off track. We cannot find our way. And I want you to know there is an answer for that. When you trust in the Lord with all your heart, stop leaning to your own understanding. A lot of us have been trying to figure this thing out our own way for so long. Our knowledge is limited. Our wisdom is finite. But God's wisdom and direction is unbelievable. It is infinite. It never ends. And so when we trust in the Lord with all of our heart, and we don't lean to the way that we've been thinking or what our aunties have said, and what our mama and them have said about relationships, and what our cousins and them have said about relationships, about men and women alike, and we don't lean toward that and let that dictate our paths, and we lean toward what God has said about us and our relationship, then God can come in and then say, look, I know that was crazy, but I'm about to make your path straight. I'm going to lead you into love. I'm going to lead you into understanding. I'm going to lead you into compassion.
And forgiveness.
I'm going to lead you into forgiveness. Even if somebody has made a mistake in a relationship, when you trust in the Lord, he can make all that stuff straight. He can fix it. When you say, I'm done, I'm out of the way, God, you take over.
Well, we hope that you all enjoyed this video. Thank you for coming to our channel. Thank you for everybody, sharing your comments, sharing your love and your support for us and our family. We love you. God bless. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we